Welcome back to my channel, guys. Hope everyone is doing great today. If it's your first time, don't know, feel free to click the subscribe button and don't forget to click on that bell just so you don't miss any updates on my new videos. So guys, the Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced some new curfew hours today during a meeting with the House of Representatives. Really shocking hours again, people. There wasn't much change apart from the Sunday lockdown times. So here's basically a summary of the new curfew hours. And this information was given by the Jamaica Gleaner. So it says public gatherings will be limited to 10 people. Funerals will not be permitted. Burials will be allowed Monday to Fridays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Limited to 30 minutes, 10 mourners, and 5 clergy/undertakers allowed. No face-to-face school will be permitted until May 4th, 2021. Curfew measures ended on May 4, 2021. New weekend curfew April 17 to May 2nd. Curfew will now run from 4 p.m. on Saturdays and 5 a.m. on Sundays and resume 2 p.m. on Sundays until 5 a.m. on Mondays. Please note, no early closures on Fridays anymore. Daily curfew begins at 8 p.m. Curfew measures end May 4th, 2020. So guys, those are some of the new curfew hours. Meanwhile, everybody is rushing to get the vaccine and so forth. But it's best if you hear from the Prime Minister himself. So here's the complete video. Feel free to click the subscribe button and that bell. Here's the video.
We need to dispel that nobody's trying to take away your liberty. We're trying to save your life. That were implemented 3 weeks ago have been successful in slowing down the spread of the virus. However, our test positivity rate and our hospitalizations remain too high. As a result, Madam Speaker, the measures implemented 3 weeks ago will be extended for another 3-week period until May 4th, 2021, with the following changes. The curfew hours. Madam Speaker, the weekend lockdowns will be modified for the next 3 weekends. The curfew will begin at 4 p.m. on Saturdays and 2 p.m. on Sundays and end at 5 a.m. the next morning. Let me just repeat that. The weekend lockdowns will be modified, so they're not technically lockdowns anymore, they're just tighter curfew hours. Will be modified for the next 3 weekends. The curfew will begin at 4 p.m. on Saturdays and 2 p.m. on Sundays and end at 5 a.m. the next morning. So for Saturday, April 17th, Sunday, April 18th, Saturday, April the 24th, Sunday, April 25th, and Saturday, May 1, and Sunday, May 2. Those weekends will have the 4 p.m. curfew for Saturday and 2 p.m. for Sunday, ending 5 a.m. the following day. Okay. Yes. 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 For the following day. Yeah. The curfew hours for weekdays for the next 3 weeks, Monday to Friday, will remain at 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. Ending, of course, 5 a.m. the following morning, until 5 a.m. on May 5th, 2021. We are not going to be closing half day on the Friday. So that no longer obtains. All the other measures remain largely unchanged until May 4th, 2021. Madam Speaker, let me, however, quickly go through some of the measures, noting changes where applicable. The control entry protocols. The existing protocols, including the requirement for all travelers to present a negative COVID-19 test conducted within 3 days of travel, remains in place, as does the requirement to self-quarantine for 14 days after arrival. Madam Speaker, I want to emphasize that even though incoming travelers would have presented a negative COVID-19 test, they are still required to quarantine. The 14-day quarantine requirement applies even for persons who have been vaccinated. This is something we will be reviewing as we are going to be reviewing this as more scientific data becomes available about the risk of vaccinated persons transmitting the virus to persons who have not been vaccinated. But we'll also be reviewing it as our internal vaccination numbers rise. So we have started actually the review. We have started the internal discussions, and we will pursue that. And hopefully by some point in May, we should be able to say something specific. Madam Speaker, following a review of the situation where several countries are experiencing a spike in COVID-19 cases, in some cases due to variants, the travel ban applicable to the United Kingdom will continue through to April 30th, 2021, at which point it should expire, and we would not be expecting to renew it. I think that's for tourism. And for South America, that is for the countries of Brazil, Chile, Peru, Colombia, Argentina, and Paraguay, the ban is being extended until May 4th, 2021. And of course, we will continue to reassess after that. I just want to say clearly and say very quickly, Madam Speaker, that though we are increasing our vaccinations, new variants can pose a threat. And we have seen in countries in Latin America, in South America specifically, where they have attained high levels of vaccination and are still going through a spike. So we have to be absolutely careful what we are doing here. Madam Speaker, the stay at home for persons aged 60 and over will remain in place until May 4, 2021. Of course, the exemptions and exceptions that have been provided for are noted. Work from home. Madam Speaker, the existing work from home directive in the public sector is being extended until the 4th of May 2021. As a reminder, permanent secretaries and heads of agencies are directed to ensure that only persons who work in critical service delivery and perform job functions that require them to be at the physical location should be at the office. For the private sector, employers should allow all persons who can work from home to do so. Madam Speaker, the gathering limit will remain at 10 persons until May 4th, 2021. Public sector entities are reminded that social events, handing over ceremonies, launches, groundbreakings, opening ceremonies, or any other similar event remain prohibited. Markets. For markets and vending in public arcades and public transportation centres, operating hours will be 1 hour after the end of curfew to 1 hour before the start of curfew. Therefore, when the curfew ends at 5 a.m., markets will open at 6 a.m. When the curfew starts at 8 p.m., markets must close by 7 p.m. On Saturdays, when the curfew starts at 4 p.m., markets should close by 3 p.m. Markets remain closed on Sundays and public holidays. In terms of public transportation, Madam Speaker, they will still be allowed to be on the road 1 hour before and 1 hour after the curfew, but there can be no passengers in the vehicles during those periods. That period of time is to allow the transport operator to leave their home to their pickup point or from their drop-off point to home. Madam Speaker, all persons in PPVs are reminded to wear masks at all times and sanitize before entry and exit of the vehicle. They should ensure that the windows remain open and the ACs are turned off. Also, motor cars that provide public transportation are to have one less passenger than is allowed by the license. Schools. Madam Speaker, there should be no face-to-face instruction in all primary and second schools, be they public or independent, until May 4th, 2021. Students are to be instructed using other modalities, and for clarity, please note that this includes students who are to sit exit examinations. However, students are permitted to sit exit examinations at the physical location of the school when those exams are due. Funeral services. Funeral services are permitted during the period ending, let me repeat that, Madam Speaker, I misread. Funeral services are not permitted. I would ask Hansard to strike that. Funeral services are not permitted during the period ending May 4, 2021. Madam Speaker, we understand the emotional strain that this measure is causing, but we have no other option at this time until the situation in our hospitals improve. Burials. The existing restrictions on burials continue until May 4, 2021. Burials will be allowed Mondays to Fridays only during the hours of 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. I must say, Madam Speaker, that, and I'm sure the Minister of Local Government will give a report, but from what I'm picking up, and this is purely anecdotal, and I'm just sharing it without evidence, but it would appear to be the case generally. I agree. Let me move on. I agree. It's circumstantial. I agree. I will ask the Minister of Local Government at a later stage when he has the official statistics in front of him to report on the progress of this measure. So I agree with you. As a reminder, the time for conducting the burial is limited to 30 minutes and only 10 mourners will be allowed, and an additional 5 persons can be present who comprise the officiating clergy and the grave diggers and undertakers. Worship services. Madam Speaker, we know the significant hardship that the restrictions on in-person worship service have been causing. There are many persons in Jamaica who rely on their church for fellowship, companionship, counseling, socialization, and for spiritual edification. It's a part of our culture, particularly as we grow older. We need to identify with something that is meaningful, and the church is that element in our society. So we understand the impact it has had. As a result, we have decided to increase the maximum number of persons who may be physically present to facilitate worship or electronic broadcast, including officiating clergy and technical support personnel. We are more than doubling from 12 to 30 effective April 14th, 2021. Madam Speaker, we wanted to consider as many as 50, but when we brought that to the health professionals and they explained that the same issue of the reproductive rate, the numbers gathering, and if 1 or 2 persons are infected, then the higher the number of infections and how that could be disastrous. Because the profile of the person attending a congregation or attending a service would have a higher percentage of persons who would be in the vulnerable category, meaning that they are either older or have a comorbidity. And so we have to be, whilst we are trying to strike the balance, trying to allow more persons into the church, we have to still be very careful. So we wanted to give 50, but we're going to start with 30, and we will see how that works out, how it affects the numbers. Given the new curfew hours on the weekend, the previous regime under which a maximum of 12 persons approved by churches using the designated form were allowed to travel during curfew hours will no longer be applicable. So the previous measure where we gave the church the autonomy to determine the 12 persons who will travel to conduct a service or to broadcast a service, that will no longer apply. So we are expecting that the churches will have their services within the curfew, outside of the curfew hours that have been established, meaning from 5 a.m. to 4 p.m. on a Saturday and 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. on a Sunday. Within the non-curfew hours. Weddings, until May 4, 2021, the cap on the number of persons permitted at a marriage ceremony remains at 15. Beaches that are not under organized management and control and rivers will remain closed until May 4, 2021. Zoos, parks, gyms, attractions, and bars are subject to the existing restrictions and must close at designated times until May 4, 2021. Amusement or gaming arcades not licensed under the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act must remain closed until May 4, 2021. Indoor cinemas and establishments that stage theatrical or artistic performances will remain closed until May 4, 2021. The ban on events such as concerts, parties, tailgate parties, round robins will continue in effect until May 4, 2021. Madam Speaker, here I would like to address the entertainment community. Madam Speaker, this government does not see entertainment as only fun. We understand that entertainment is an industry. It is a business for many. And they have invested heavily. They have invested heavily in their business. It is the reality. It is the proven fact that the gatherings that happen at parties are usually the ground zero of spread. And we have tried to find ways within the public health science to accommodate these kinds of events and gatherings. We take note of what other countries have done. We see, I believe it was in New Zealand, where they have put on an event, and we're monitoring that. Indeed, I am personally looking at what measures they have put in place. I want to say to the entertainment community, now is the time to plan. Now is the time to develop a new strategy for delivering your product. Because when the lockdown over, I don't think you're going to have a hand to manage parties and concerts and just people having fun. So now is the time to plan. And I have already spoken with the minister. She's not in the house at the moment. But it is also the time for the government to plan. Because what we have seen and what is clearly demonstrated is that the entertainment industry has leadership. There are persons there who we have seen demonstrated great leadership. There are persons who have great business acumen. There are persons who understand the industry. And so we have, on the other side, good partners that we can work with and start to plan what the entertainment industry is going to look like after COVID. And even to start to introduce new ways of getting entertainment as we transition out of the pandemic. So I have said to Minister Grange, that we need to look at the investments that we need to make. The Minister of Finance is listening to me keenly. Keenly. Very much so.